So I've been looking at the application procedure for non-EU students for their grad studies here in Germany. And in this video, I'll try to explain the admission requirements and procedure for master's degree in Federal Republic of Germany for non-EU students. First of all, some basics which you should keep in mind. For masters, the admission procedure is a little bit different than that from bachelors. The requirements and the procedures for each faculty at each university is different from one another. That's why you'll have to look into the admission procedure for each university separately. You cannot generalize the admission procedure because the admissions are mostly regulated by the faculties themselves. There is no standardized organization that controls the applications for master's degree. So what I'm trying to say is, if you want to apply for master's degree here in Germany, you should check each university individually separate from one another, because the admission procedure may differ depending on which faculty you're applying to. But don't worry, the main requirements for admission are actually mostly the same in almost all the universities. But how do you apply for a master's degree is a little bit different. And that's what I'm going to talk to you about in this video. So I've checked the admission procedure and the requirements for master's degree here in Germany for 9 different universities. And I'll explain these procedure and requirements in 2 different phases. And then I'll break these phases further down into smaller steps and requirements. So the first phase that I'll walk you through is the admission phase. And the second one is the visa application. Now let's break down the admission phase first. Now, first of all, you'll have to check your eligibility first to find out whether or not your undergrad studies in your home country allows you to continue your grad studies here in Federal Republic of Germany. Now, I have talked about a website called Anabin, which is an online database which allows you to evaluate your own foreign documents. I'll just link all the important websites that I mentioned in this video in the description so that you can check them out if you want. So if you have evaluated your documents on Anabin, and Anabin says that in fact you are allowed to continue your grad studies here in Germany, then you can finally start your admission process. As I mentioned earlier, I have checked the admission process for 9 different universities here in Germany for non-EU residents. So I'll just walk you through the main requirements that you'll have to provide for your admission. So let's take a look at the documents that you'll need to provide to the university. In order to get an admission at a German university, you will need to provide the following documents that I'm about to tell you with your application. Your high school degree certificate, which is your 12 years of schooling, your bachelor's degree certificate, language proficiency proof, your transcript of records, and your portfolio. Now let's take a deeper look into these required documents. So high school degree certificate, there's actually not much to talk about it. I mean, it's just your 12 years or 13 years of schooling, depending on your country. Then comes your bachelor's degree certificate. So if you're still in your bachelor's, you can still apply for a master's degree in Germany. In that case, you'll need a letter from your university that says that you're still in your bachelor's degree, but you're about to finish your bachelor's. Then send that letter with your application for admission in master's in Germany. But you'll then have to provide your bachelor's degree certificate later. Then comes your portfolio. So there's not much to talk about it. So portfolio or CV, whatever you call it, you just have to send it with your application. And the next and a very important document is your language proficiency proof. So if you're applying for a degree course that is offered both in German and in English, then you'll have to prove your proficiency for both the languages. But if you're applying for a unilingual degree course and the language that it's offered in is English, then you'll have to prove your English proficiency. The most common way of proving your English proficiency is by attempting IELTS. And for German universities, you'll need to acquire 6 to 7 bands, depending on which degree course you're applying for. But most universities demand 6 or higher IELTS score. But for the exact language proficiency requirement for your faculty, you'll need to check each university's requirements separately. And here's a comparison table from the Language Center for Universities in the region of Bremen, where you can compare foreign language proficiency exams to European language framework. And then there's the transcript of your records. It's just a standard way of showing what you have done in your bachelor's degree. That's it. But another important point, if your educational documents are not in English or in German, you would have to translate those documents before you send them to the university. The universities here only accept English and German documents, and in some cases French, but other languages you'd need to translate them either in English or in German. So those were the main required documents for admission in a master's degree course. So at this point, you have all your documents, you have had them translated if required, and you have notarized or authenticated them in another way. Then the next step is to apply for the degree course. So after you have found the degree course that you want to apply to, you'll start by filling out your application form. And if you remember in the beginning, I said that the procedure for master's degree is a little bit different than that of bachelor's because there is no standardized procedure for admission in a master's degree. And by that procedure, I meant this application process because each university has its own online portals where you can apply first. And after applying online, through that online portal, you'll then have to download that application form and send it per post as paper. So after you have found the degree course that you want to apply to, you'll check the procedure for application in that university. Because if you remember, from the start, I've been saying that the admission procedure for each university is different. So it's actually this part where you apply for the admission at your desired university. For example, at Hannover University, you don't need to send the application form and the required documents per post. You just have to apply online and that's it. But for Marburg University, you'll have to apply through Uni-assist. I have already mentioned what Uni-assist is in my Bachelor's in Germany video, so you can watch it if you don't know what Uni-assist is. And there's also time lapse in that video, so you don't have to watch the whole video, but just the Uni-assist part. And then there's universities like Hamburg, where you have to submit your application online, but send your documents through post to the faculty that you're applying to. So that's how you apply for a master's degree here in Germany. So at this point, you have already applied to the university. And if everything goes right, you'll most probably get your admission letter to that university. Then comes the visa application phase. So everything about visa application I've already mentioned on my requirements for bachelor's in Germany video. And I'll try to link that video here somewhere. You can just check that out. I don't feel like having to go through all that same thing again. So you can check the visa application process on that video. And remember, there's time lapse on that video. So you can just skip to the part where visa application process begins, so you don't have to watch the whole video. And as I mentioned earlier, all the websites that I've gotten the information from, I'll just link them in the description. So if you want, you can check them out. So to sum up this whole video, so before applying for a master's degree, check your eligibility first. I've given you the process and tools for it. Check the deadlines and follow the admission procedure for each university separately. Don't just generalize things. Look into the details for applications for each university because the application procedures are regulated by the faculties inside each university. And depending on which faculty you're applying to, there might be some additional requirements which you have to look for each faculty. And one point which I forgot to mention, in some cases, the faculty that you're applying to might ask you to attempt an aptitude test, like at the Technical University of Munich. But as I said, that depends on the faculty. So just look carefully into the faculty that you're applying to. So that's been it for this video. And if there are any questions, let me know in the comment section. I'll get to you as soon as possible. Stay safe, take care, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.